Yes, good morning, ARC. It's a great pleasure for Melanie and me to be here. The little video you saw, Seek Together, really represents a deep felt belief in partnership and focuses on everything we do. It's a new commitment to our customers, to our suppliers, to our industry partners, to our people, and to the future. Seek Together also really supports our vision to become the most innovative, the most sustainable, the most customer-focused, and the most inclusive materials company in the world.
It's hard to break that, isn't it?
Yes, that's too long. I've said something else, but materials company. But we can't do it alone. So when you get now 2 for 1, when Melanie and we are talking to you about the collaborations between IT and operations, and since we are not only collaborating on a daily basis because our offices are right next to each other, we thought we'd turn this keynote into a conversation about our personal collaboration journey.
Absolutely, and we'd like to talk about our 2 entirely different global organizations and how we're seeking together, like you saw in the video, to create an effective, seamless, and integrated collaboration to really accelerate what we're doing to deliver our objectives and progress our digitalization priorities.
We'll talk about our approach the 2 of us took. We will share a case study or 2 with you. And we talk about culture change.
And you know what? We're also going to answer the question, what is the most annoying thing IT asked of operations?
And I think in that aspect, obviously also answered the question, what was the most annoying thing operations ever said to IT? So we'll get to that as well.
But before we get too far down the road to our collaboration, I want us to get into a time capsule and go back 33 years. That's when Peter and I both joined Dow in 1987. Peter joined the Stade manufacturing site in Germany, and I joined in Research Information Systems in Midland, Michigan, which happens to be our headquarters as well. Peter, what was your relationship like with IT at that time? Were you even thinking about IT? And if yes, what were you expecting us to deliver?
The way I saw it, that was just the beginning of IT. Here in my script, it said I had to share a workstation. That's not really even true. I mean, we had a computer, but I could do perfectly work without it. I would only switch it on a few days or apart. So it was not really a workstation. My key interest in Dow and in my work was Dow just developed its own process automation system. Many of those applications still run today. And I had the privilege to deploy one of those things early. Slides, they were hand cut, right? So that's why I don't like show slides, because I remember how difficult it was to make a slide by hand. And so where I was, it was a big manufacturing site. There was no IT function. We had some manufacturing people that took care of IT infrastructure that was pretty rudimentary. And cyber, that word, I think didn't even exist. Mm-hmm. So, Melanie, when you were in IT, had you an idea about operations?
Well, I was working in the research campus, which happened to be right next to our large Michigan division site, but I never thought about operations. I mean, and that's really strange if you think about the fact that 2/3 of our people in the company are aligned to manufacturing. So my focus was really on early state search engines, 33 years ago, so we can call them search engines in quotes, and really keywording chemical properties. So the operations group that was focused on process automation was really an unknown group to me at the time.
And so we went back. Now let's advance almost into the present day. Let's advance to 2016. That's where really our paths crossed more intensely. We came together, and we experienced in those days also many changes as a company. We had the merge and demerge with DuPont. We are now a new Dow since almost a year from now. Digital was a key part of that transformation, and you were right in the middle of that digital transformation. Can you talk about our digital strategy?
Sure, Peter. Our strategy for the new Dow is to really move from being a chemical company that does digital to being a digital company that does material science. Our transformation is about pursuing digital innovation to really generate growth for Dow. So we created a company IT strategy where digital really drives across three important pillars that we're focused on. The first one being bringing us closer to our customer, making life easier for our employees, and then third is really around improving the speed and how we do our work. So when you look at those three, the biggest successes really come when you find the sweet spot or the intersection across all three. If you can deliver something that really hits all three of those, you're really hitting the sweet spot. So, Peter, while I was working on the digital strategy, you were working on this thing called Manufacturing 4.0. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what that's all about.
I think Manufacturing 4.0, many of you are working on that as well. For Dow, it's also a multi-generation journey to fully digitalize all aspects of operations and also make sure we have a digital interface to the other functions and businesses in the company and to stakeholders like many of you are here. But I think it's probably easier to explain if we roll a little video on Manufacturing 4.0 that will give you a quick insight in it. Can we roll it?
Sometimes operations can feel like a maze. You know where you want to get to: stronger reliability, better quality, increased production, greater profitability, improved safety. But the path to get there can be complicated. Manufacturing 4.0 will take us out of the maze and into amazing. It will power decision-making, productivity, manufacturing flexibility, safety, and overall competitiveness. It will take Dow to a leading position in the fourth industrial revolution and bring out the best in Dow people. Smart sensors will provide real-time information about equipment performance throughout a site and provide data on production against targets. Mobile access means data is available wherever you are. You can identify problems before they escalate and take corrective actions immediately. Productivity and safety will rise. Imagine real-time data arriving from all of a business's production sites around the world, analyzed in an instant, and visible on an intuitive dashboard. Business and functional leaders have a real-time view of performance. Decision-making arrives in the digital age. Through instantaneous sales and operations planning, we can manage inventory and production better and get the right product to the right place at the right time. And customer and market information will circle back to the plant in the blink of an eye for ongoing assessment. It's all about serving the customer better. Manufacturing 4.0 will expand the use of drones, mini submarines, and other robotic devices to do dangerous tasks such as inspecting difficult-to-reach places. For Manufacturing 4.0 to succeed, we need to bring out the best in Dow people, expanding skill sets, and freeing people's time for higher value activities. New technology will eliminate some repetitive or time-consuming tasks like data collection and potentially dangerous inspections. Productivity will go up, so will new job opportunities. Manufacturing 4.0 will be a major contributor to Dow's digital transformation, enhancing connectivity, flexibility, speed, and responsiveness, producing differentiated products and solutions, and delivering greater value from the plant floor to the customer doorstep. Operations will stand tall for Dow in the digital age.
I hope that gave you an insight what we are doing in Manufacturing 4.0 at Dow. And Melanie, I think it's clear both of us were heavily working on the digital transformation of Dow. What did really then spark the two of us to come together and stop working separately and joining camps and work together?
Well, clearly it didn't make any sense for us to work separately. We had a new Dow mandate to be a digital Dow. We had Manufacturing 4.0 going on, which was very much heavily focused on digital. And we had strategies that revolved around the three pillars that I talked about: our customers, our employees, and improving the way we work. And we're really focused on being a more real-time company, really using and leveraging the data, the vast data that we have, to really drive better decisions and be a more sustainable and a safer company as well. So, and our businesses really depend on the whole company to drive innovation. And you know, we both recognize the importance of digital in helping our businesses really succeed in their strategies. You know, in my role as Chief Information Officer and Chief Digital Officer, I have the accountability for digital, but that doesn't mean that I can make it happen all on my own. It requires strong partnerships. And you know what? The manufacturing organization has deep knowledge and expertise. The IT organization has deep knowledge and expertise. And it really made sense. We really needed to break down the silos between the two organizations to bring that deep knowledge and expertise really together. You know, we have so much to learn and leverage that, you know, it made a lot of sense to bring the two organizations together to work together. And this IT, OT, and as Andy says, even ET integration is really forcing breaking down those silos between the organizations. And I know you and I both had a few doubts about whether this could work. You know, it seemed logical, but even though it was logical, you know, we still had some doubts. So I'd ask you, Peter, if you remember what you were thinking when we started this partnership.
Yes, I do. So I think, first of all, like in every new partnership, there was a question of trust. Mm-hmm. And both organizations, IT and operations, they worked for a long time alongside and not really interacted a lot. So the questions we had is, would our work practices be very different? Would we really be willing to support each other, make room in our agendas and priorities? Was our approach on how to get about problems similar? Could we get that into sync? Secondly, we didn't know if our systems and philosophies really would flange up well and could align. But we also, as Melanie said, the time was there. There was no way we could work in silos anymore. The business reality commanded us coming together.
Mm-hmm. So in order to make that happen, you know, my team really set out to understand how operations did their work. We had to really understand our new partner, and we wanted to know the approach that they took for implementing technology. And I'll tell you, in IT, we always felt that manufacturing needed some discipline. We felt like, you know, they were out there seeking the newest and latest and greatest toys and new technology. But I think that's why, you know, understanding how and why the decisions were made in manufacturing were really important for my organization to understand, because we had this kind of preconceived notion, but as we learned and got to know the organization better, we understood some things a lot better. And one of them is we have fundamental differences between IT and OT. I mean, IT is typically able to take an enterprise-wide approach, you know, developing capabilities that fit, you know, most of the business side of the community, what I would call kind of one size fits most. And then we could take that and leverage it, you know, in a broad implementation across the company. On the other hand, operations and in manufacturing, you have to take a more custom approach. You have to look for solutions that really fit the needs of the manufacturing capabilities at each of the sites. So we had a few things to reconcile, some pretty big differences, didn't we?
Yes, we did, Melanie. I think on the level we are operating from, it's pretty easy to go and tell the troops, meet, greet, and do nice. But that alone is not enough. We had to provide a frame and a structure this would really happen. Our organizations, you might know that as well, we speak different languages. We speak manufacturing lingo, operations lingo. You speak binary code, right? Very hard sometimes for us to digest. So Melanie, what was the secret for us still being able to come together?
Yeah. Well, we both knew we needed a shared set of goals and a common vision. So, you know, we had to first find that common ground across our organizations. And one of these was really the fact that we were both focused on delivering safety, reliability, and a better customer and employee experience through digital. So we had some common things that we were both working on. You know, we had other things in common as well. Our organizations both shared a passion for creating something new, and we were both of our teams were very eager to be pioneers in trying new things out. The other big thing that we thought about was the culture that was needed to make this partnership successful. We wanted a culture that used what we both have in common to really build that trust that Peter was talking about, so that our teams were really willing to try new things together and even make mistakes trying those new things together, and not worry about the fact that somebody would come back and tell them, I told you so, I told you this wasn't going to work.
I think also we in manufacturing, we saw the need of coming together more closely. So about 4 years ago, when we looked at turnarounds, that's very important for me and my organization. For us to make the next step on turnaround efficiency and safety, we clearly saw we needed digital tools and we needed the infrastructure IT could help us with to get that in place. Mobility was another aspect. We had all the digital devices showing up, but they were blinky, but I always doubted if they were really able to create a lot of value. We saw the rise of wireless, a lot of instrumentation. If you want to connect it by cable hardwire, it's very costly. There were wireless instruments out there. We needed to understand how to best connect that and have cyber in mind and privacy. The whole infrastructure to go more digital, we needed to upgrade. We were not really experts in operations on the digital infrastructure. So we in operations, we were for the most dispersed, while IT, they were very much centralized. So I told you early on, I worked in this site in Stade. There was no official IT function. So we had to overcome that. Operations, as I said as well, we work very much local. IT, Melanie and your team, you work very much, you manage information on a global scale. So the way we went about that is Melanie started personally to sit in my leadership meetings. So she spent a lot of time to listen to the stuff we felt are very important to us. And I'm sure it was not always easy to understand for her, why the hell are we spending time on that? But I think the way she helped us to look at data, the value of data, and how she helped us to complement each other was really good. And it opened ways we never explored as a function before. I also spoke several times to Melanie's organization, and we shared our common priorities. And we also made it very clear that working together was a new paradigm and that working in silos would no longer be accepted. An innovation team was created between IT and OT that would really drive the integration and opportunity finding and then also executing. We also made sure that what we do was aligned to our business, to our corporate processes, to our strategies, and would really touch and solve the key challenges we have as a company for our customers. We also both, Melanie and I, sit on the corporate strategy board, where these days a lot is discussed about digital. There's a steering team we both work on, where we sit with the business presidents, with the other functional VPs, and prioritize key initiatives in all areas. And if the initiatives and operations are not good enough, we will not get funding. So we got to know each other a lot better, and we got familiar with each other's organizations. Our teams began to fluidly work together more easily, and we started to build more common ground. And what I said early on, we started to trust in each other. So far that we even got up together on stage here. That led to some great ideas, and one of the probably greatest we like to share now is Dow's Digital Operations Centers, which both of us founded.
So we established the Digital Operations Center, or what we call the DOC, you'll hear us refer to that, as really our think tank for the development and piloting of these digital solutions for the work done within Dow's manufacturing fence line. This initiative was a first of its kind partnership for us between operations and IT, but we also partnered with our businesses a lot stronger. We brought in supply chain logistics as well as process R&D. So again, everything within that manufacturing fence line. We thought if we need to deliver capabilities that connect across our sites, why not bring together the expertise across all of those functions so we could look end to end and really make this happen? I think the mindset we had was, let's put the facility in place or provide the roof that we can bring all the right people with all the right skills together to work together. It was a risk for both of us. We didn't know if it would fly, but we both felt comfortable taking that risk. It not only demonstrated our close collaboration between the two organizations, but it highlights again how important trust is to take an idea like this and really put it into practice. I have an IT person on my team that actually reports to Peter. So we challenge the normal organizational lines with this as well. And people within the center, like I said, are from a variety of different functions. We even have third parties in the center, but they're all working together as one team to really drive, again, against our objectives and delivering our digital innovations. And we want to show a quick video. I think it will explain, and it's a great overview of what the DOC is and how it operates, to give you a little taste. We can roll the video.
The Digital Operations Center, also known as the DOC in Houston, Texas, is a critical component in innovation for Dow's manufacturing and operation organizations. Will help deliver solutions for Manufacturing 4.0, a multi-year digital initiative that will strengthen productivity and competitiveness while driving continued growth and raising enterprise-wide performance. Powered by strong collaborative relationships with information technology, integrated supply chain, site logistics, Diamond System Solutions, and research and development, the Digital Operations Center will concentrate on operations digital efforts to drive enhancements and improvements and effectively position Dow as a leader in the fourth industrial revolution. With a deep understanding of Dow's customers and competitors, the DOC carefully identifies and evaluates promising concepts and technologies that could provide a competitive advantage. From there, each of these concepts and technologies is thoroughly tested at a showcase site to determine the potential for company-wide leverage and applicability for global implementation. The foundation of the Digital Operations Center are Manufacturing 4.0's 5 technology platforms: analytics and enterprise manufacturing intelligence, robotics, mobility, process control, process automation, sensors, electrical instrumentation, and digital thread visibility. Each technology platform, along with its unique blend of highly skilled professionals, provide the smart technology and real-time data needed to tackle the most complex challenges. Through new technologies, real-time data analytics, greater connectivity, and workforce training, Dow Manufacturing 4.0 will enhance safety, efficiency, productivity, and reliability. And through ongoing collaboration with Dow businesses, functions, and sites, the DOC will help deliver groundbreaking solutions that exceed our customers' expectations.
So the DOC's been piloting a lot of the capabilities like you saw in the video, and we've learned a lot through the partnerships that we've had in the DOC and testing some of these technologies. But Peter, maybe you can share with us some of the capabilities that we're actually implementing globally around the world right now at our sites.
Thank you, Melanie. Before I do that, I want to point out a few things on the DOC. First of all, many of the people you saw in the little video clip, they are here. So if you pick up a Dow person, very likely they have worked in the DOC directly or very close to it. The DOC, I think also, even though it's called the Digital Operations Center, we should not get confused. Mm-hmm. It is a physical center where we work on digital solution. It was a new location. We, on purpose, didn't put it in an established location because we wanted solutions that are globally applicable and don't fight the not invented here syndrome. And we needed to create a physical space for working differently together than we would normally do in the common spaces we had both in IT and in operations. Now to your question, Melanie, some examples, and I think some of that you saw already in the clip. First, very exciting is the drones, the robots, the crawlers we have. They really allowed us, and that was really at the basis of the DUC. We wanted to make Dow safer. That was one of the most critical aspects of working on digital solutions in manufacturing. So those crawlers, robots, drones, they allow us to go to places where we otherwise would have put people in harm's way. So we talk about working on height, we talk about confined space entries, we talk about workspaces that might be contaminated with chemicals. So it's a lot better to send a device in there than to send a human in there. What we also see is the quality of the inspection work we do there is often enhanced. We have a lot more people that can look at it. We also start to alter the robots and the crawlers in a way that they not only do inspections, they actually start to conduct work. And that's really the next frontier, do work and not just do inspections.
And Peter, I think the unique thing about that is we're now packaging that capability up in kits and taking it from site to site. So it's not, I mean, yeah, there's some uniquenesses from site to site, but we're not reinventing that capability at every site like we may have in the past.
There's like a base Lego kind of a box every site gets, and so they can get on with the most basic stuff there. I think experts closer to the machine, you saw that as well. It's really the idea that we have a lot of knowledge in the company, but I cannot always bring it to bear where it is needed. Digital will help me. And some things I feel very excited about, something we use more and more, are those screen and camera helmets, where an expert sitting somewhere in real time can assist a technician, can assist an engineer to solve a technical problem in the field. Not just have a video conference or behind the screen, but do that in the field. Very exciting, very fast, very powerful. And then innovations that allow us to track equipment and also track people. That's for productivity, but it's also for safety. It's a very exciting aspect. So this is just to name a few. What we really needed to help us from IT is understanding privacy aspects. Not everything that can be done should be done. And then also cyber aspects. We need to understand not everybody is as kind as we are here. There are some people we want to think about when we design things. So we had a lot of early on quick wins, and the collaboration goes better and better. And it's a great test bed on how we work together and get things done. But so in hindsight, when I look at the DUC, and hopefully, Melanie, you would agree, it was a risk to invent a couple of 10 millions in it, but I think it was well worth it. And the risk probably had been bigger if we would not have done it.
I agree, Peter. No doubt about that. You know, some of the risks that we were facing and seeing actually over the years were this whole concept of shadow IT. I mean, we were using the same platforms just differently across our organizations. And you know, that's, as you guys know, that's pretty inefficient and costly. And really no company can afford to support two organizations kind of with multiple systems, using them for the same thing, and you know, teams with similar experiences. So operating the same system separately would never allow us to leverage the full capability unless we took a holistic view. And that's what this partnership was really all about. If we truly want to digitalize our processes end to end and have full integration throughout the company, we needed this digital thread and working together that allows connectivity and the data mining that we really want to progress and are progressing. You know, true integration could never be achieved, and we would have lost a lot of insights that are really incredibly valuable to not only our company, but also to our customers. And of course, Peter mentioned it, then there are the cyber risks. You know, without a unified front, we're a lot more vulnerable than working together, right?
Yes, that's for sure, Melanie. I think that's a very important aspect. Melanie, when you look back on what we did there, what do you think, what were surprises for you, and what were any learnings?
Yeah, there were actually a lot of surprises, but I think the biggest one to me, the biggest surprise was it doesn't really take a lot of success to get other leaders on board. That once you start moving, the needle just a little bit and showing that it can be done, showing that your organizations can come together and you can deliver more together, there's a lot of interest that quickly follows you and a lot of people that really want to get on board with what you're doing. In fact, we showed the video, we've talked about our Digital Operations Center. It's now one of several centers that we have where we're bringing the right parties together, whether it's in supply chain or customer service or even public affairs and finance and operations. Every function in business has a place to really do this digital testing and drive new ideas and capabilities to really enable our other end-to-end processes as well. So I guess, Peter, any surprises for you?
Sure. So I think earlier on, the two of us, we aimed for speed and we aimed for value and solutions that could be broadly deployed. I had, and I think you as well, we had no interest to develop something that can only be used in one location and highlight that and think we are done. We have around 100 sites around the globe, and I want solutions I can use in as many places as possible. So what I learned there from the DOC is what they were using, the Scrum or the SWOT approach, really having teams working intensely and from different functions, different backgrounds to solve a problem. That was interesting to see, and it also showed me the way we often work is we ask people to do something in addition to their normal day work. That is a very slow process. If you want to progress, you need to focus. So I had to learn that. I think also what we learned is many of the things we wanted, those solutions are already out there. Many of the companies here provide those solutions. But what we didn't have, A, was a capability to understand what's out there, and then B, have a quick screen how to assess what's out there. You don't want to spend immense time on something that's not a perfect fit. How can you screen that better than we do? I think the collaboration between IT and OT really complemented our capabilities. It assured that we are not leaving open ends. I think when it comes to cyber and when it comes to digital threat, that's something I really learned from the IT side. And then tool reliability. I think that's something we brought to IT. So in manufacturing, those things have to work all the time, not just at times. They have to work perfectly. And then I think end-user testing, that's something we learned from you again. So I can't tell you how many rich collaboration moments we do have.
Yeah, that's great. Again, showing that each organization has strengths and bringing them together really makes us a better organization as a whole. So I guess, Peter, if you had to go back in time and do one thing differently, what might it be?
I think early on, we needed to decide what to focus on. You saw in the little video, we have 5 pillars in Manufacturing 4.0. But in the beginning, we were treading a lot of water. We were testing a lot of things. We were contemplating a lot of stuff. I think what is very important, that you have a value case and that you are very firm on it. Value creation has to stand on the basis of it. If it doesn't create value for your company, why would you pursue it? Digital solutions have to deliver value as well. I think IT underestimated the technical savviness of the manufacturing people. They saw us as users while we wanted to be movers and shakers. And Melanie, what has changed for you?
Well, I think if I had to do it over again, I would have sent my teams out into operations a lot sooner. They needed to experience your world and really see what your challenges were. And I didn't have to wait until I became CIO to do that. I mean, you don't have to be the top person in your organization to collaborate and get your teams together. And clearly, there's nothing like seeing what's going on with your own eyes to really help you better understand and internalize the differences and challenges and the opportunities that are out there to work together on. I'd also be more concerned, probably even paranoid, about cyber attacks, IP leaks, and just that whole opportunity for even sabatage to happen.
Yeah, that's a terrible thought.
Yeah.
So, those were good additions here at the end, words of caution. I think now we also promised we go a little lighthearted. What was the most annoying thing operations said to IT, Melanie?
I would say I don't know if it was actually said out loud, but I think the mindset was, we don't need you here, we can do this ourselves. So there was a bit of that in the beginning. And I would also say that on the IT side, I mean, Peter mentioned in the beginning that he was concerned that we spent all of our time with the businesses and with finance and the normal corporate functions. I also think IT allowed, our budget to be a crutch, instead of looking for inventive ways to self-fund and really, work together to deliver what manufacturing needed. It's a very big and sometimes overwhelming space. So again, I think we use that as a crutch. But I do think we've come a long way in working together and along with our businesses. Peter talked about the steering team that we sit on that determines priorities. We work directly with our businesses to help us make those decisions, make sure we're funding the things that are going to move the needle. As Peter said, there's a lot of things we can work on, but we have to get very focused on the things that we should be working on that will really drive that value back to our business. And it just takes the right conversation. It takes the commitment, and of course, it takes a few successes along the way don't hurt to help your case with this. So Peter, since I've asked that question or answered that question, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is the most ridiculous and annoying thing that IT asked of operations? And has it changed your approach to how we work together?
Thank you, Melanie. I think you said it already, but I'd like to repeat it. Often we in manufacturing felt IT was really only there to serve finance, to serve the businesses. They almost forgot about it. Here and there they would say, this is a manufacturing company. That's where the majority of our people are. But in reality, we didn't feel that way. We wanted to take things in our own hands. Last time I looked, most of my people have a STEM education, so they know how to help themselves. And we were trusted to buy compressors, reactors, towers. But if we wanted to put a wireless system in our plants, we were, no, you can't do it. That's something IT will have to do. I think today the organizations are a lot better in understanding. We are living together. And we both understand we are not living in a candy store. Not everything that's out there that's blinky we can afford, neither should we have it. It has to create value. It doesn't just have to create smiles or tickling egos. Melanie, let's move a few years out. Mm-hmm. Where do you see the collaboration going between our functions?
Well, clearly we need to keep working at this because our journey is never over. This collaboration is not something that happens naturally as we've seen historically. So it does take work and we need to keep focused on that. I also think our organization structures are really going to morph and we have to really pay attention to that. You're going to have data analysts, you're going to have security professionals as examples sitting in the middle of manufacturing. And what does that look like next to an IT organization? I think we're going to continue to work differently to optimize for our customers and our employees. We'll continue to find ways to partner better. And I think our teams are going to become a lot more comfortable working together. You're not going to be able to differentiate, like I said, with the roles that are crossing over between IT and OT. And we're going to continue to learn and understand kind of what the needs are of each of the organizations. We're going to be more agile. We're already seeing that happen. We need to move people around where the skills are needed not just focus on organizational lines. I think that's the biggest barrier to get over, is to really look at what skills do you have and where are those skills needed, regardless of where the people align in your organizations. And I think our teams are going to be more aggressive with collaborating on new ideas, and this notion of fail fast, fail often that we hear about will really be okay because, we've established trust and we know how to work together, and we'll really look at those moments as learning opportunities in the future versus, failures maybe. So those are a few of my thoughts over the next 3 years. What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, thank you very much, Melanie. I think sometimes I have a question to myself. Probably I have that question more than she. Can you tell us apart in 2 or 3 years from now? Reality, that's not a relevant question. It's not about Melanie and me. It's really about our willingness to work together and do that whenever possible and not just whenever necessary. I think when I also look around, we need to realize that different geographies have different capabilities. I'm a German and I live now for more than 5 years in the US. And I'm really deeply impressed by the capabilities here in the US on data handling, on expert systems, on data analytics. I think there's a lot of leadership here on a global scale. But when it comes to other aspects, when it comes to robotics, when it comes to sensors, when it comes to maybe variables, other regions might have a leg up. And I think we, as a global company, we want to make sure we use whatever is best out there. Traditionally, the way manufacturing worked, I told you we have more than 100 sites around the world. We would optimize one site at a time, or each site would optimize at their own speed and at their own needs. Together, we are developing capabilities, IT and OT, where we can really start to optimize the whole fleet, optimize the company as a whole. And not only within manufacturing, but also tie it to integrated supply chain, to the businesses, to the customers, but also to the partners we have here in engineering or in supply chain. The other thing where I think even more work will be done is in the space of digital threat. So when I look into operations, we have about 20 billion data points every day from automation. 20 billion data points. They are all coming out and they are used in our process automation system, but only very few of that data is used for other reasons, in expert systems or being connected with the rest of the company. We have to find how we mine that gold mine beyond process automation. And I think also we have to work a lot with you, Melanie, on how to sanitize data. This is also very important. There's a lot of data out there, but how much can you trust it? And is it really relevant in the connection you want to make to the data pool you want to edit? You have to sanitize the data. You have to put a qualifier on the data to make that relevant so the data can also be used in supply chain, in the businesses, in finance. Many of us here in the room, we need to work together. And we work on platforms. And we have to be, as an industry, careful that our platforms become not so specific and so different that we cannot work with each other anymore. So that's a big ask to our industry. Let's stay connected and also don't create silos.
Yeah, I think that's very important, Peter. We all have our specialization, but we still have to work together. So I guess just in a couple sentences, Peter, what's the message you'd like to leave everyone with today?
I think what hopefully you take away is trust is important. I think the willingness to collaborate is important. Also, it's important that you benchmark, you understand your position in the market, you understand what's out there, you understand where you need to improve. I think collaboration has to come freely. It's not something you exercise occasionally. You have to do it all the time. What I learned in the digital space, there's no limit on what you can spend. Literally, there is no limit. So you need to have a strategy, and you have to have an underlying value proposition that really harnesses your willingness and the willingness of your people to spend money. And Melanie, your turn. What's your final message for the day?
Sure. It's clear that success is never going to happen without alignment at the top. And I'm really happy that we've aligned, Peter, and I appreciate the partnership that we have. And I think the other thing is you must keep communicating. You have to ensure that that alignment goes all the way through the entire organization. And just like I think all of us have heard in the past, you have to say things. At least I've heard in the past 3 times. I think now it's like 7 times. You have to keep repeating and making sure people really internalize your message and see through your actions.
Melanie, also from my end, I'd like to thank you and your team for the collaboration in the last years, and we are doing great work together. We are moving the needle in the transformation, the digital transformation, for the benefit of our customers and our employees. Our world is more and more digital.
I agree, Peter. We're doing great. We got to keep it up. And I think what we want to do now as we close out our little talk here is we want to give the audience here a challenge. So I know when you and I started working together, it was a bit awkward and a little bit scary, but my gut told me it was the right thing to do. And I didn't know until I approached Peter, until we approached each other, that we actually felt the same way. So we'd like each of you to think about your organization and really a spot in your organization where there may be a stumbling block, maybe where your teams are not quite collaborating like you'd like to see, like you'd want, or maybe even you have teams that need to work closer together like IT and OT or as well ET. Across those different organizations. But, your silos or your organization charts might be holding you back from delivering, as Peter said, for your customers. So if you can think of something that if you could change it, it would be better for you and your organization to move your digital strategy forward. What we're asking you to do right now is make a commitment now to seek out that leader who can help you break those silos down, who can help you really bring your organizations together to deliver a lot more than you're going to be able to deliver on your own. So that's our challenge. Go break those silos down, seek out that leader, and start the conversation.
Yeah, also from my side, first of all, a big thank you to ARC and also to Andy for inviting Melanie. And I still wait to this moment that an IT conference invites me. So ARC is here on the forefront. I also think there were a few islands, a few pockets of IT people. I think ARC has an option to mix that more firmly and show and lead the way here. Melanie said that neither of us can do it alone. I invite you, when you are home, seek a partner. Go to somebody you normally would not work. It doesn't have to be necessarily just IT, but forge new alliances. The world we are in is a lot more interconnected than the world we have left behind. So it is important. There's no single playbook, and each of us can open doors.
Absolutely, and you know what? You do have to wear out the shoe leather on your shoes. You have to, walk down the hall. You have to talk together. You have to sit together. You have to walk the journey together. You can't just talk about it. And as Peter said, you can't do it alone. So what we're encouraging you to do, and I hope, based on the learnings that we shared today, that will help you seek together within your company. And we just want to say thank you very much for your interest in our journey. Thank you for listening to us, and I'm going to turn it back over. We're going to turn it over to Andy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.